The 1970s are often remembered as a golden era of music, an age of creativity, freedom, and legendary songwriting. But behind the hit records and sold-out arenas, the decade also hid a darker truth. For Carole King, one of the most influential songwriters in music history, the 1970s were not just about success. They were about survival. As a woman in a male-dominated music industry, King witnessed behavior that ranged from dismissive and exploitative to openly cruel. While she rarely used harsh language publicly, her interviews, memoirs, and quiet refusals spoke louder than insults ever could. Over time, it became clear that Carole King never forgot the people who mistreated her, or others, during rock's most chaotic decade. These are the figures and behaviors from the 1970s music industry that Carole King openly criticized, distanced herself from, or exposed through her actions and words. 1. Controlling male producers who took credit. Carole King started her career in the Brill Building, where she wrote hit after hit, often without receiving the respect she deserved. During the 1970s, she openly criticized male producers and executives who treated female songwriters as replaceable, while quietly taking credit for their work. King spoke about how women were expected to be grateful just to be in the room, even when they were doing the heavy creative lifting. She didn't name every individual, but her message was clear. The industry rewarded ego, not talent, and punished women who demanded control. Her response wasn't rage. It was independence. 2. Executives who exploited artists financially. By the early 1970s, Carole King had already written classics like Will You Love Me Tomorrow and The Locomotion, yet she saw firsthand how artists were routinely underpaid, misled, or trapped in bad contracts. King openly criticized record labels that treated musicians like disposable assets. She was especially vocal about executives who pushed artists to tour relentlessly, ignored mental health, and prioritized profit over people. To King, this wasn't business, it was exploitation. Her decision to negotiate her own terms and walk away from toxic deals quietly exposed how corrupt the system really was. 3. Rock stars who treated women as props. Unlike many of her peers, Carole King never romanticized the excesses of rock culture. In later interviews, she criticized the casual cruelty toward women that was normalized during the 1970s, especially by male rock stars who treated fame as permission to behave badly. She distanced herself from scenes where misogyny was brushed off as rock and roll behavior. King made it clear that talent didn't excuse disrespect, and she refused to collaborate with people who crossed that line. Her silence toward certain stars became its own form of exposure. 4. Industry gatekeepers who dismissed her as too soft. Even after the success of Tapestry, some critics and executives dismissed Carole King as too emotional, too domestic, or not edgy enough. She was told her music was nice, not important. King pushed back hard against this mindset, pointing out that emotional honesty required far more courage than manufactured rebellion. Her continued success proved that vulnerability wasn't weakness, it was power. The people who underestimated her ended up exposing their own limitations. 5. The culture of silence itself. Perhaps the biggest scumbag Carole King exposed wasn't a person, it was a culture. A culture where abuse went unspoken. Credit was stolen quietly. Women were told to endure. King refused to play along. She spoke openly about anxiety, motherhood, divorce, and self-doubt at a time when female artists were expected to stay quiet and smiling. By telling her truth, she shattered the illusion that the 1970s music industry was glamorous for everyone. Why Carole King's exposure still matters. Carole King didn't expose people with scandals or screaming interviews. She exposed them by surviving, succeeding, and refusing to become like them. Her integrity revealed the ugliness around her. Today, she's remembered not just as a legendary songwriter, but as someone who changed the rules without burning bridges, and still won. The 1970s produced incredible music, but it also produced unchecked egos, exploitation, and silence. Carole King saw it all. And by staying true to herself, she made sure the truth eventually came out. What do you think? Was Carole King too kind, or exactly as strong as she needed to be? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more untold rock history.